Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jasodanandana Vraja Janarandana Jasodanandana Vraja Janarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jasodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jasodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Vishubha Paramamsa Parivraja Kacharya Ashottara Sata Sri Srimad His Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jaya Vishubha Paramamsa Parivraja Kacharya Ashottara Sata Sri Srimad His Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavanda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Srimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan Ki Jai Sri Sri Gaunitai Ki Jai Sri Sri Jagannath Subhadra Baladev Ki Jai Gaura Premanandi All glories to the Sambhavatis, all glories to the Sambhavatis, all glories to the Sambhavatis, all glories to Sri Guru Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasabhutade, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namane, Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvesesha Sunyavadi Paschatare Datarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Skanda, 6th chapter, 8th chapter, sloka number 62 and also 63, 64. Because sloka number 62, 63 don't have any purport, so we are not adding any purport to that. We shall read first 62, 63 and then 64. Ityuktastam parikramya pranamya cha nriparbhakaha Yadyo madhuvanam punyam haris charanacharchitam. Iti, thus, uktaha, being spoken, tam, him, Narada Muni, parikramya, by circumambulating, pranamya, by offering obeisances, cha, also, Nripa Arbakaha, the boy of the king, Yayo, went to Madhuvanam, a forest in Vrindavan, known as Madhuvan, Punyam, which is auspicious and pious, Hare, of the Lord, Charana Charchitam, imprinted by the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Translation. When Dhruva Maharaj, the son of the king, was thus advised by the great sage Narada, he circumambulated Narada, his spiritual master, and offered him respectful obeisances. Then he started for Madhuvan, which is always imprinted with the lotus footprints of Lord Krishna, and which is therefore especially auspicious. Sri Sri Gaurnitai ki jai, Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai, Sri Sri Jagannath Subhadra Baladev ki jai. Please repeat. When Dhruva Maharaj, the son of the king, was thus advised by the great sage Narada, he circumambulated Narada, his spiritual master, and offered him respectful obeisances. Then he started for Madhuvan, which is always imprinted with the lotus footprints of Lord Krishna, and which is therefore especially auspicious. Sloka number 63. Tapovanam gate tasmin pravishtunta puram munihi arhitarhanako ragya sukhasi navachatam. Tapavanam, the forest path where Dhruva Maharaj executed his austerity. Gate, having thus approached, Yasmin, there, Pravishtaha, having entered, Antapuram, within the private house, Munihi, the great sage Narada, Arhita, being worshipped, Arhanakaha, by respectful behavior, Ragya, by the king, Sukha Asinaha, when he comfortably sat on his seat, Uvacha said, Tam, unto him, the king. Translation. After Dhruva entered Madhuvan forest to execute devotional service, the great sage Narada thought it wise to go to the king to see how he was faring within the palace. When Narada Muni approached, the king received him properly, offering him due obeisances. After being seated comfortably, Narada began to speak. Please repeat. After Dhruva entered Madhuvan forest to execute devotional service, the great sage Narada thought it wise to go to the king to see how he was faring within the palace. When Narada Muni approached, the king received him properly, offering him due obeisances. After being seated comfortably, Narada began to speak. Sloka number 64. Narada uvacha Rajan kim dhyayase dirgham Mukhena parisushyata Kimva narishyate kamo Dharmo vartena sanyutaha. Narada uvacha Rajan kim dhyayase dirgham Mukhena parisushyata Kimva narishyate kamo Dharmo vartena sanyutaha. Narada uvacha Rajan kim dhyayase dirgham Mukhena parisushyata Kimva narishyate kamo Dharmo vartena sanyutaha. Vaishnavis, Narada uvacha, the great sage Narada Muni said, Rajan, my dear king, Kim, what? Dhyayase, thinking of, dirgham, very deeply, mukhena, with your face, parisushyata, as if drying up, kimva, whether, na, not, rishyate, being lost, kamaha, sense gratification, dharmaha, religious rituals, va, or, arthena, with economic development, sanyutaha, along with. Translation, the great sage Narada inquired, my dear king, your face appears to be withering up, and you look like you have been thinking of something for a very long time. Why is that? Have you been hampered in following your path of religious rites, economic development, and sense gratification? Please repeat. The great sage Narada inquired, my dear king, your face appears to be withering up, and you look like you have been thinking of something for a very long time. Why is that? Have you been hampered in following your path of religious rights, economic development, and sense gratification. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The four stages of advancement of human civilization are religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and for some, the stage of liberation. Narada Muni did not inquire from the king about his liberation, but only regarding the state management, which is meant for advancement of the three principles of religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification. Since those who engage in such activities are not interested in liberation, Narada did not inquire from the king about this. Liberation is meant for persons who have lost all interest in religious ritualistic ceremonies, economic development, and sense gratification. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Dhyananjana Sarakaya Chakchuranmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaguna Raghunathan Vitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakam Vitanscha Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Paramami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Narada Muni has given complete instructions to Dhruva Maharaj for him to achieve his desired goal. He told Dhruva Maharaj, you go to Madhuvan, which is a part of Mathura, a very ancient place, holy place, where the footprints of Lord Krishna are there from time immemorial. This is the place where also later on Shatrughna and Lord Krishna himself would go in later ages. But even at the beginning, since time immemorial, the place of Mathura, Madhuvan especially, is sacred, pious, auspicious, due to the footprints of Lord Krishna imprinted. Those who are great devotees of the Lord, such as Uddhava or others who have been to Mathura, they aspire to take birth even as an insignificant living entity in Mathura, so that they can always be immersed in the dust of Mathura Dham. The dust is mixed with the dust of the lotus footprints of Lord Krishna, which are everywhere throughout the forest. And this is very auspicious. All the great devotees, including Lord Brahma, they also aspire to take birth in that manner. Whatever may be their condition, but if they can remain in Mathura, they can always smear their bodies, face with the dust of Mathura Dham. So that is the culmination of devotional service. to be always immersed in the dust of the lotus footprints of Lord Krishna. Those who are especially in the service of the Supreme Lord, they aspire for that position. So after receiving these instructions, Dhruva Maharaj paid obeisances to his Guru Maharaj Narada Muni. That is very important, to receive the blessings of the Guru. Otherwise, once we will not be able to conduct ourselves according to the instructions of the Guru. The blessings must be given, and in order to receive the blessings, the disciple or the student must always offer obeisances. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. Offering obeisances is a mark of submissiveness, and obeisances and surrender. One should always surrender at the lotus feet of the Guru, so that we may be able to understand his instructions. Every time we meet the Guru, every time we leave the association of the Guru also, we should pay obeisances to him. We should never forget him at every stage. Otherwise, we shall also forget his instructions. So in this way, Dhruva Maharaj, after obeisances, paying obeisances to his Guru Maharaj, Narada Muni, started to execute the instructions by going towards Madhuban. And there he sat in a good sitting posture and next to the Yamuna river, so that his sadhana could be performed in a very auspicious atmosphere, in complete remembrance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then Narada Muni, here it is described that he wanted to meet also the father of Dhruva Maharaj, that is the king himself. So after Dhruva Maharaj went to the forest of Madhuvan, Narada Muni immediately went to the palace of the king. We understand from this about Narada Muni that he is always eager to preach. He doesn't waste a single moment, always going from one place to another. He has also received a special sapam from one lady that he would not be able to stay in any one place. So in this way, he is taking advantage of this curse, and he doesn't take rest. He is moving from one place to another for preaching purposes. All the great devotees of the Lord in the disciplic succession of Narada Muni also are constantly traveling and preaching. Srila Prabhupada was the perfect example of the traveling preacher, and he wanted that all his, especially sannyasi disciples, should preach and travel constantly. That is the ideal behavior for a preacher. He doesn't stay in one place. He goes to meet different people and always disseminating the message of Godhead. So why should Narada Muni why should he go to the palace of the king? Not to take rest or to enjoy the atmosphere there, kingly atmosphere. He is not attracted to any of this. But the king has a special position in the society. If the king is Krishna conscious, then the entire kingdom is also having opportunity to develop Krishna consciousness. That is why Narada Muni is visiting the king, not to receive any special benefit from him. Although, of course, Narada Muni is very well received by the king, and he is given all types of facilities. But that is not the object of his visit. The object of his visit is to make the king Krishna conscious. If there is any problem with the king, that Narada Muni should understand, and he will give a solution to that. So that is very important. The preacher should not forget to see the leaders of society. So there are different types of preaching activities. And so one type is preaching to the general public. And another type of preaching is preaching to a selected audience. And then another type is preaching to the leaders of society. So a preacher, just like as example given by Srila Prabhupada, he also did these three types of preaching activities. Sometimes giving public programs to thousands of people, sometimes preaching to his own disciples, a limited circle, or maybe 50 disciples, or sometimes also going personally or preaching to leaders, political leaders or business leaders, social leaders. In this way, Prabhupada executed these three types of preaching activities. That's like Tejas Prabhu was a temple president in New Delhi. He was the first temple president there, I think from 1970-71 onwards. So for some time he was there. New Delhi being the capital city is a very important place. All the political leaders are there always. And so Srila Prabhupada had already started the life membership program. So he told Tejas Prabhu, you go and meet all these MPs, MLAs, political leaders, and enroll them as life members. You make all of them life members. That was the special instruction given to Tejas Prabhu at that time by Srila Prabhupada. So that is that type of preaching. Sometimes we forget, but it's so very essential, because by preaching even to one single person who is especially important, then many other hundreds and thousands will be also follow the leader. Yad yada charati sreshtas tattadeve taro janaha sayad pramanam kurute lokastadanivartate. Lord Krishna says that whatever a great man does, the common man follows. And whatever standard he sets, that standard becomes the common standard for everyone. So this is very important. Narada Muni here, he can preach to a small boy. Apparently a small boy is not important. Why should Narada Muni, such an exalted personality, spend time with a small boy? Generally, we meet a small boy, we ask him, how are your studies? Which class are you? How you are playing with your friends? And so on. But Narada Muni does not ask this type of question. Always his association is only connected to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he is giving Krishna consciousness to everybody, a small boy and a great political leader, a king, great king. He can do that, and he is doing it. So that is exemplary behavior and preaching activity of Narada Muni. So, of course, Narada Muni knows very well what's happening in the palace. He is also very intelligent, and he is not ignorant of what is going on. So he is asking from the king that you don't appear very jolly. Actually, a king should be always very jolly because he is surrounded by friends, and he can give instructions. Everybody follows instructions of the king, so why should the king be worried about anything? So Narada Muni is telling like that Rajan kim dhyayase dirgham. Dirgham means long. So just like if a person is not feeling well or is feeling preoccupied by something, he will have, in English, why is your face so long? Why you are putting a long face? Long face means not smiling. Mukhena parisushyata. Why your mouth appears to be dry? That is not very auspicious sign. That means something wrong is going on in the mind. So his face is dried up. His mouth is dried up. And his face is not jovial, not jolly. So Narada Muni is inquiring from the king very innocently, because that is the strength of Narada Muni, that he can speak like a child, but although he appears like that, but the most intelligent personality. That is a specific characteristic of Narada Muni. He can go anywhere, he can enter anywhere, and appears very innocent. Oh, what's happening here? Immediately the subject matter will be directed to Krishna consciousness. Why is this happening like this? That means something, so he's giving appropriate advice. He can give such appropriate advice to anyone, anywhere, anytime. That is, he can go to hell, he can go to heaven. For him, it doesn't matter. He is simply preaching the glories of Lord Krishna everywhere. So he is the ideal preacher, ideal example for all the acharyas in the line. Narada Muni then, here in the purpose, the Prabhupada explains that Kimva narishyate kamo dharmo vartena sanyutaha. If a preacher meets a householder, he may ask him, first of all, just to exchange greetings. Oh, how's your family? How are your sons, daughters, how they are doing? And so how is your business? And so on. And for a political leader, then the question may be, oh, how is your party doing? How the elections are going on? And so on. But then Narada Muni is asking something more elevated regarding the four or the three important goals of human life: dharma, artha, kama. Of course, the fourth goal, moksha. But Prabhupada mentions in the purport, Narada Muni is not inquiring about moksha, because he knows very well that the king is very much engaged in only these three activities: dharma, artha, kama. That is religious activities and economic development and sense gratification. These are the three main activities. A leader will be always thinking. Of course, nowadays, leaders may not think of dharma. They are simply worried about their political power. But in the ancient times, in the Vedic times, the kings were very religious and they were following the rules and regulations of Vedic Dharma very strictly, because they knew very well that they are leader in the sense that they have been given this position for the benefit, spiritual benefit of the people at large. So if the people see that the king is pious, executing all the yagyas prescribed, then people also will follow, and that will be the ultimate welfare of the state. Srila Prabhupada also gave these teachings that we should implement the Varnashram Dharma, and so that if the leaders can follow and implement the Varnashram Dharma, then the entire society will be spiritually benefited. Otherwise, it will be very difficult, even just for ordinary peace and satisfaction be felt by the people. There will be disorder, conflicts at every level. And this is what's happening, because the Varnashram Dharma is not followed. So there is complete disharmony and unrest in the society. So therefore, Narada Muni is inquiring from the king that how is your Dharma, Artha, Kama, how is it going on? I can understand. It seems that because you are not feeling happy, I can see that maybe there is some obstacle, there is some problem in the pursuit of this Dharma, Artha, Kama. So that is the beginning of the conversation between Narada Muni and the king. So as Prabhupada mentions, a political leader will not be interested in moksha because he occupies a post that is very much in a material position. He is a material leader. He's not exactly a spiritual leader. He's not a yogi. He's not a sannyasi. He is not generally not a pure devotee. Because there are exceptions sometimes. In the Vedic times, just like the Pandavas, they were pure devotees of the Lord, and they also ruled the kingdom. Eventually, they took sannyas, left everything. Similarly, Parikshit Maharaj and some other kings also were pure devotees of the Lord. But these are exceptional cases. Generally, the political leader or the king, he is on the intermediate level. He is not a Rakshasa, and he is not supposed to be impious, and he is supposed to execute pious activities to set an example for the people at large. So in this way, Narada Muni did not touch the subject matter of moksha because it is not exactly relevant to the situation. So Narada Muni in this way is according to time and circumstances, as Srila Prabhupada also taught all the preachers, that you deliver the message, you give instructions according to time and circumstances. That is very essential so that the preacher will be successful in his preaching activities, and gradually he can elevate the people to the highest position, eventually also to the platform of pure Krishna consciousness. But at the beginning, he may not preach in that manner according to the mental disposition of the audience or the students. He will give the message so that they will be gradually elevated. Here we see Narada Muni being the perfect example in this manner. Okay, are there any questions or comments?
who are all in relation to ISKCON. They are very much fortunate to get guidance of the scriptures already. And in Bharat Desha, getting birth means a very much previous year has been very much practically of course, but there is a big hindrance regarding this propagation due to this education which is being presented by some Abendal of British Church. Till now, ISKCON is trying so much, and Prabhupada arranged a Hyderabad institute to propagate in education wise also. But still more should be effortfully go forward in propagation side. Because in schools they are giving and everywhere they are propagating. But Gita should be brought into the temples of outside so that this innovation department should be approached and Bhagavad Gita to be used in the temples for recitation every day. Please.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much for your very good suggestion, and certainly it is very important that preaching should be always accompanied by book distribution. This is Srila Prabhupada's program. Sometimes Prabhupada used to tell some of the preachers that, as I remember, he told Bhagavan, Bhagavan was a leader of ISKCON in France, Italy, that he was a very good speaker, Bhagavan, Prabhu, and Srila Prabhupada told him, what your speech, what will it do to the people? What will it do? You are a very well-known, good speaker, you are renowned, but what will it do? How far will it be successful? Simply giving lectures in this way. If anyone can read just one line of my book, his life may be transformed. Not even one line, one word. If one word people can have and keep in their mind, their life will be changed. So that is the potency of Srila Prabhupada's books. And he also instructed all the other sannyasis in the same manner. Achyutananda Swami was also a very, I would say, extraordinary speaker. In ISKCON, he was number one speaker. And he could have an appeal to thousands and thousands of people. So when the report came to Srila Prabhupada that his programs, his lectures were highly successful, like throughout Andhra Pradesh, Guntur, Hyderabad, Visakhapatnam, all these places were visited. Thousands of people used to come to these public programs, and Prabhupada would inquire, how many books have been distributed? At that time, we didn't have any Telugu books, so small English books were there. But so at the end of his lecture, Achyutananda Swami used to bring all Prabhupada's books in English language and introduce every one of them to the audience in order to distribute these books. So that is an essential aspect of preaching, and certainly to this day also. And for the next 10,000 years at least, this program should be going on. Along with the preaching, there must be book distribution, very forceful. And Prabhupada always asking the results of book distribution and telling the distributor, double it. So much emphasis was given to by Srila Prabhupada we should keep up this, certainly, this activity. And in this way, the preaching will be successful. A lecture can be heard, see, 1 block, or the kirtan can be heard 1 block away, but the books will distributed everywhere. So that is the difference. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati also mentioned this, that dissemination of knowledge is first of all to the books, and then kirtan, lectures, that is to reinforce. And in this way, people can become Krishna conscious by association in this manner. Any other questions? Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.